We often misunderstand the word ego. When we hear it, we think of the arrogance of a billionaire or the vanity of a celebrity. We think of someone pounding their chest, shouting, "I am the best." But that is only the loud ego. There is a quiet ego too, and it is far more dangerous. The quiet ego is the voice that whispers, "They are ignoring you." It is the voice that says, "You are not good enough." It is the voice that says, "I must always be right," or "I am a victim of this unfair world." The ego is not just pride. The ego is a psychological construct, a mask that we wear to protect ourselves from the world. Imagine a medieval warrior. Before he goes into battle, he puts on heavy armor. He carries a thick shield. He lowers his visor. He is safe inside the metal. But he is also heavy. He is slow. He can barely see through the narrow slit of his helmet. And most importantly, he cannot feel the touch of another human being. This is what the ego does. It starts as a bodyguard, but it ends up becoming a jailer. You built the fortress to keep the pain out, but now the fortress is keeping the life out. In Zen philosophy, the goal is not to kill the ego, because you need a self to function in the world, but to see through it, to take off the armor so you can move freely again. But you cannot take off the armor if you don't realize you are wearing it. Here are 5 signs that your ego has trapped you, and a timeless Zen story that reveals the way out. Sign number 1. You are easily offended. Imagine you are walking holding a cup of water. Someone bumps into you and water spills everywhere. Why did you spill the water? You might say, "Because he bumped into me." But the Zen answer is, you spilled water because there was water in the cup. If there had been tea in the cup, you would have spilled tea. What is inside you is what spills out when life bumps you. If you are full of the ego, what spills out is defensiveness, anger, and offense. The ego is fragile. It is like a balloon. It looks big, but it pops at the slightest touch. If someone critiques your work, do you listen? Or do you immediately build a wall of excuses? If someone disagrees with your politics, do you get curious? Or do you get furious? Being easily offended is not a sign of strength. It is a sign that your identity is built on very shaky ground. You need everyone to agree with you just to feel safe. That is a prison. Sign number 2. The need to win every argument. Do you find yourself fighting battles that don't matter? You are at a dinner party, or in a comment section online. Someone says something factually incorrect. Your heart starts racing. You have to correct them. You have to prove them wrong. Why? Does it change the world? No. Does it make you happier? No. It is the ego's desperate need to be superior. The ego believes that being right is the same as being alive. It feels that if it admits defeat, it will die. So, you burn bridges, you ruin friendships, and you exhaust your energy just to have the last word. You win the argument, but you lose your peace. The ego wins, but you lose. Sign number 3, constant comparison. The ego cannot exist in a vacuum. It only knows how to define itself by looking at others. It looks up at people who have more money or more fame, and it says, "I am a failure." That is the insecure ego. Or it looks down at people who have less, and it says, "I am better than them." That is the arrogant ego. Both are traps. Comparison is the thief of joy. When you are trapped in the ego, life becomes a vertical ladder. You are always climbing, always terrified of falling. But when you step out of the ego, life becomes a horizontal landscape. You realize that the flower is not better than the tree, it is just different. You are not above or below anyone, you are just you. Sign number 4, You cannot sit in silence. Why is it so hard for modern humans to sit alone in a room for 15 minutes? Because in the silence, the ego starts to starve. The ego feeds on drama. It feeds on problems. It feeds on noise. What about my future? What did she mean by that text? I need to buy this. When you are silent, the main character story stops playing, and the ego is terrified of the show being canceled. If you feel a panic rising when there is nothing to do, that is your ego screaming for food. It is afraid that without the noise, it will cease to exist. Sign number 5, the victim mentality. This is the ego's cleverest disguise. Sometimes the ego doesn't say, I am the best. Sometimes it says, I am the worst. I am the most unlucky person. No one suffers like I do. The world is against me. Believe it or not, this is still ego. It is still self-obsession. Whether you think you are the hero of the movie or the victim of the movie, you are still obsessed with being the center of the movie. The victim ego loves its pain because its pain makes it special. It uses trauma as a shield to avoid taking responsibility for the present moment. So, how do we escape? There is a famous story about a samurai and a Zen master that illustrates the nature of the ego perfectly. A rough, strong samurai, a general of great renown, went to see a little Zen monk named Hakuin. The samurai demanded, "Monk, tell me, is there really a heaven and a hell? And if so, where are the gates?" The monk looked at the mighty warrior. He saw the heavy armor, the sharp sword, and the arrogant face. The monk smiled and said, "Who are you?" "I am a samurai," the warrior barked. "I am the leader of the emperor's guard." The monk laughed. "You? A samurai? You look like a beggar. Your sword looks rusty, and you smell like a pig." The samurai's face turned purple with rage. His ego was crushed. He drew his sword. The metal hissed as it left the scabbard. He raised it above his head to chop the monk's head off. "I will kill you for your insolence," he screamed. Just as the sword began to fall, the monk looked him in the eye and whispered calmly, "That is the gate of hell." The samurai froze. The sword hung in the air. In that split second, he realized what had happened. A few words from a little monk had controlled him completely. His ego had reacted like a puppet on a string. He saw his anger. He saw his fragility. He saw the hell he had created in his own mind. Slowly, he lowered his sword. He felt a wave of shame, but then a wave of profound gratitude for the lesson. He sheathed his weapon and bowed low to the monk, his forehead touching the floor. His anger was gone. His armor was gone. He was just a man. The monk smiled again, touched the samurai's shoulder, and said, "And this is the gate of heaven." This story tells us the secret. Heaven and hell are not places you go when you die. They are places you create every day with your ego. When you are defensive, reactive, and obsessed with yourself, you are in hell. When you are humble, aware, and open, you are in heaven. The samurai escaped his trap not by fighting, but by seeing. He saw his anger. The moment he saw it, he was no longer it. That is the cure. Awareness. The ego hates to be watched. It operates in the dark. The next time you feel that flash of anger, or that pang of jealousy, or that urge to prove someone wrong, stop. Do not act. Just watch it. Say to yourself, "Ah, there is the armor. There is the mask." Don't judge it, just see it. In the light of your awareness, the heavy metal armor begins to rust and fall away. And for the first time, you can feel the wind on your skin. You are no longer a prisoner. If you are ready to take off the mask, declare it to yourself. Thank you for watching. Drop the armor. Be free.